It was 2007 and Silverchair had just released their 5th studio album, Young Modern. The album had much more of a mellow groove as compared to their earlier work, with more of a pop rock sound. But despite its different sound, Young Modern was still a success for the band, with the album and the single Straight Lines both going to #1 in Australia. And along with that, the band won multiple ARIA awards for their work on the album also. The band's tour behind the album included shows played with Powderfinger on the Across the Great Divide tour, and from all avenues, Young Modern had been a success for Silverchair. And so now we come to June of 2009, and this is where the group began their work on their 6th album, an album that the fans never got to see. And this is footage of Silverchair starting work on their 6th album. The band spent 3 weeks recording in Australia with future sessions planned for later that year. And so in December of 2009, Daniel Johns was on Triple J's radio station in Australia, and he discussed the band's new album, which they were working on in Newcastle.
The little inside word that I've had for the new Silverchair record is that it's a bit rockier than Young Modern.
Yeah, I suppose so. I don't really know the difference anymore, so I don't know what it is. But it's more kind of, I guess it's like dirtier. It doesn't feel as kind of polished and pop kind of thing, but I don't know. I guess it's all just to me. I can't tell the difference between any of it.
That's fair. That's fair enough. You're right in the middle of it. But have you been mucking around with different sounds and, like potentially using different instruments, like more than just orchestras and stuff?
Are there any spoons on it?
Yeah, we've been kind of, that's the difference, I suppose. The main difference is kind of a lot more experimentation with instruments, and I think there's only guitar on about 4 songs so far out of 50, so...
Whoa. So what sort of instruments?
Well, we're just doing a lot of, like, jamming in the room of the band and stuff, so I've got, like, synthesizers and, like, old Bronino synths and stuff. But, yeah, it's weird because it sounds like there's a lot more going on than there actually is in a lot of the tracks, so... I don't know. We're just kind of running everything through synthesizers.
Okay, so it's not really rocky at all. Whoever gave me that tip was obviously way off the mark.
Oh, synthesizers can be very rocky.
I guess they can, can't they?
Yeah,
New wave rock.
It's surprisingly rocky considering the guitars.
We look forward to hearing the new Silverchair record. I take it sometime in 2010. It's going to be next year, isn't it?
Yeah, I would hope so.
Daniel, have you got a name for the album yet?
No, not yet. That's just like...
Yeah, that's a ridiculous question, isn't it? See, I'm like, if I had written that one down, I would have crossed it out as stupid.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Remember 2 words, fly fishing.
Fly fishing.
could be the name of the new Silverchair album. Hey, Daniel, look after yourself.
So, going by what Daniel John said there, everything was going okay with work on the new album. That was December of 2009. And then we fast forward 4 months onto April of 2010, where the band's bassist Chris Jono stated that work was progressing well, and he confirmed that there was no proposed album title and that they were simply referring to it as album number 6. 1 month later, in May of 2010, the band would play a festival date in Australia, and this would be their final ever concert. And it was 1 year later, after Silverchair's final show, in May of 2011, that the band announced an indefinite hiatus. The official statement came from Daniel, Ben, and Chris, members of the band, and was announced on Silverchair's official website, and it read, "We formed Silverchair nearly 20 years ago when we were just 12 years old. Today we stand by the same rules now as we did back then. If the band stops being fun and it's no longer fulfilling creatively, then we need to stop. Despite our best efforts over the last year or so, it's become increasingly clear that the spark simply isn't there between the 3 of us at the moment. Therefore, after much soul-searching, we wanted to let you know that we're putting Silverchair into indefinite hibernation, and we've decided to each do our own thing for the foreseeable future." So that album, which was showing so much promise and potential, and it was so close to happening, just never quite got over the line. Here is Silverchair drummer Ben Gillies in 2012 talking about the unfinished album.
Oh, we were kind of. It was a bit of an odd one for us because we were almost writing in the studio, and we'd never really done that before. We'd always gone in the studio with finished songs. So yeah, we were just, you know, it was kind of like the bento thing, you know, just by the seat of our pants, seeing what happened, and yeah, and it was good, but I don't know, for some reason we just hit a bit of a brick wall, and just didn't feel like it was flowing naturally. So yeah, hence why we just made the call.
Yeah. So very interesting there, hearing from Ben Gillies saying how the band just couldn't quite get it together and they were hitting a brick wall. They were working on it and got partway through the album, it seemed, but just nothing ever came of it. And we do get a taste of perhaps what that new album would have sounded like, or at least a couple of the songs from it, because in 2010, before the band did break up, they debuted 2 new songs live. And I'll put a short clip from each of those songs on now. You can check out the full clip here on YouTube, pretty easy to find. The songs are titled Machina Collecta and 16. Let's roll them now. So Silverchair did have some new Finnish songs there and were progressing with work on their new album, but it just never eventuated. And that's a shame that we never got to hear it. Going by the sound of those 2 songs and what Daniel John said on his Triple J radio interview, it was going to be something down the similar lines as to Young Modern. We weren't obviously going to get another Frog Stomp or anything like that. Those hard rock grungy days, it seemed, were well behind Silverchair. They had their time doing that right, and what awesome music that was that Silverchair released in those early days, their hard rock grunge style. And as Daniel Johns said there himself, there wasn't going to be as much guitar on this 6th album. It was more synths and beats and stuff like that. But for people who might bash Young Modern, I'd say I wouldn't do that. Yes, there may be some moments on that album that aren't quite as strong or very Silverchair-ish, but I can pick out at least 5 or 6 songs on that album that are very strong songs. The rest, maybe not quite for my liking, but at least half of that album for me, Young Modern, is very good. And I'm sure they would have had some very cool stuff on their 6th album also, if it had have ever came to be. It is a pity that they couldn't have gone back to it at some point and just released something, just maybe finished it off, or if they could still finish it off, or would they ever go back to it, right? Because it seems like Silverchair's got some music there left on the table that a lot of us haven't heard, so. But there it is, guys. That is the story of that 6th Silverchair studio album, the unfinished album. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Want to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below, as always. And as always, thanks heaps for tuning into the video. Be sure to leave us a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll catch you next time.